Welcome, Dolphin fans, to another episode of the Rebuild Podcast. You know the drill. We're going to talk all things Miami Dolphins football. I'm your host today, Tyler. Unfortunately, Cass is out, so I'm going to be riding solo. Before we get started, go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Rebuild the Fins. Also, go ahead and subscribe and like our YouTube channel at Rebuild the Fins. We're adding new channels, new social media pages, Instagram, same thing. So we want to grow the channel, and we appreciate all the support we've had over the last few weeks. A lot more fans have been watching us, so we greatly appreciate that. And again, please follow us, subscribe, so you guys can stay in touch with us. And as we grow, new things will be coming. Speaking of that, some exciting news that will be coming to the pod, hopefully shortly. Omar Kelly. Most fans obviously know who that is. He's well respected in the Miami Dolphin community. Those who don't, he's with the Miami Herald. He's the Miami Dolphin columnist. He has agreed to come on the pod and join us as soon as we have reached 2,500 total views on our YouTube channel. So please, to all the fans, keep watching. That means we're going to get Omar on here. I'm very excited with that. He's really well respected. I respect the heck out of him. His opinions, his views on the team. I love his interactions with the fans. So it was someone that I really wanted to get on. And I kind of been going back and forth with him a little bit on Twitter and got him to agree. So we're very excited for that. And again, to all the fans so far, thank you very much for following us. And yeah, let's get started here. Obviously a lot going on. Obviously, the 2025 season has officially wrapped up with Super Bowl 60 just finishing here over the weekend. What a dominant performance by the Seattle Seahawks. Uh, Obviously, this is a Dolphin podcast, so I really want to talk a little bit about how that performance, that team specifically, is something that the Miami Dolphins can use as a blueprint. Um, those who obviously, I'm sure majority everyone watched the game, just saw how dominant the trenches were for the Seattle Seahawks, specifically on the defensive line, just obliterating the New England Patriots. Guys, listen, that is exactly what this Miami Dolphin team in this new regime is going to bring. That's what they've talked about in numerous interviews and conversations since been hired with the team. A month ago, a few weeks ago, whatever it's been. They're going to build the trenches. They're going to start from the inside and build out. That is the blueprint for this football team. Yes, obviously it would be extremely nice to get the superstar quarterback, get the Pat Mahomes, get the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons. That's great. That there's obviously you can win Super Bowls that way, of course. But what the Seattle Seahawks have done has shown that there are other ways to win the Super Bowl in dominant fashion. Build a offense and defensive line that controls the line of scrimmage, and you have competent quarterback play. Listen, Sam Darnold, fantastic story, fantastic rise from where he was with the New York Jets to where he is now. Listen, he's not a superstar quarterback. What did he do great with? He didn't turn the football over. He made a few plays when needed, and he let his defense and special teams work. I mean, that is the blueprint of what Jeff Halfley and Sully are going to have to do for this football team. They're going to have to draft, and maintain their players and allow that defense, which obviously Halfley comes from. It's obviously what he's going to be calling plays, similar to Seattle's head coach. There's going to be a lot of those similarities. They're going to draft, they're going to try to develop, they're going to try to own the line of scrimmage. That is something that the Miami Dolphins have struggled with the Chris Greer and McDaniel era. They just cannot do that. A lot of things they need to be able to dominate the offensive defensive line. You have great defensive play, you have great special teams play, and then your quarterback and offense make a few plays, but they do not hurt themselves. They do not turn the football over. They do not, have ton of penalties. They don't beat themselves. They let the defense work. It's similar to what the New England Patriots did as well. Like their defense was dominant. They had a great playoffs. Just unfortunately, they met a team that was just hands down better than them in all phases of the football game. So again, I think as Miami Dolphin fans, what are we going to do at quarterback? Obviously the quarterback is the most important position, but when you have complementary football and you own the line of scrimmage, I mean, it was from the moment that kickoff happened in Super Bowl 60. Seattle dominated that football game. The score ending, was a little closer than maybe it seemed. But if you watch that game, man, this could have been a 30-point blow. I mean, it was just complete masterclass by the Seattle Seahawks. And that is something that the Miami Dolphins can do. And it all starts with the draft. It all starts with draft. It starts with retaining your players, building, and just kind of that cycle. And then you sprinkle in free agency as Sully has mentioned before. He's going to go after impact players. It's going to be sprinkled in, but this is going to be a draft football team. So, as a Dolphin fan who is just waiting and waiting and waiting to get this team to win a playoff game, but obviously get to the Super Bowl, this is a blueprint that this team can follow. And I'm very excited for the first draft class of John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Halfway to get in there, get the guys, get the right pieces in place, and it's going to all start on that offensive defensive line. So now that the Super Bowl is over, obviously the season is officially wrapped. There's things coming up here, obviously, that are going to be very important. That are the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, they might not have a lot of cap space. They might not be making major plays in the free agent market, but they're going to be very, very entwined with everything going on, specifically, obviously, in the quarterback position. But just to give you guys an update of the schedule, season officially ended. The NFL scouting combine in Indianapolis is going to start February 23rd through March 2nd. March 9th, big day there for the Miami Dolphins when it comes to quarterback. The legal tampering period begins for free agency. So what does that mean? If you want Malik Willis, that's when it starts. You got to go get him because there's going to be other suitors, other teams that are going to go after him. If that is your guy, which we all know, all the links to Malik Willis and someone that I want personally from you guys see from other shows and my interactions on Twitter. Malik Willis to me is a no-brainer slam dunk option for the Miami Dolphins. So that is going to be the day that stuff starts. The legal tampering, those deals will be kind of announced. They won't be finalized, obviously, but that's going to be a day where it's going to be a big day for the Dolphins. We're going to see what happens in the quarterback and some of the other moves that the regime is going to do. March 11th is when the official new league year begins and free agency officially begins. So again, that 9th, 10th, and 11th is going to be a wild day for the Miami Dolphins and a lot of things that are going to go on in terms of getting new players. Then, of course, another big day for the Dolphins. April 23rd is the opening day of the NFL draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin, I believe, this year. So again, we have the 11th overall pick. Let's see what Sully's got, man. This is why he came in and have a lot of high hopes for him. I mean, this guy was a scout through and through. Let's see what he's going to do. He's going to get his players, and you heard from interviews before, as kind of I mentioned earlier, he's going to build from inside out. So I would have to suspect he's going to go defense somewhere. But one thing he did mention is that they are going to look for best available player, not best available by need. So keep that in mind. D-line, O-line, might be corners. It might be, who knows? It's going to be the best available player on their board, regardless of need. But you would have to, think that they're probably going to go defense if they stay in that 11th pick. Maybe they move back, but it's going to be very interesting. So again, April 23rd, NFL draft begins, and those go over the next couple of days after that. Obviously, July is when training camp opens, when things kind of get going. And obviously the regular season for the 2026 season begins September 10th, which is going to be in Seattle. So as we know, team will host winning the Super Bowl. So again, a lot of things coming up. Obviously it was not the year the Dolphins wanted, a lot of change, but the season's over. There's new hope. There's new pieces that are hopefully going to be coming into play. And I'm very, very excited for how things are going to go. Obviously, the biggest domino effect that's going to be going on with the Miami Dolphins this upcoming season is obviously the quarterback play. Who's going to be the new quarterback? What I found interesting and a little laughable, but kind of how it rolls. Over the weekend, actually the morning of the Super Bowl, breaking news from Ian Rappaport and Jeremy Fowler, all those guys, that the Miami Dolphins are going to be looking to move on from Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, as Dolphin fans, we knew that for months, obviously. But when it started hitting the national media and it's on Super Bowl day, it's getting real. Listen, Tua Tagovailoa is not going to be the quarterback, it seems, for the Miami Dolphins, and it obviously makes a lot of sense. Um, so yeah, I mean, they're obviously looking to trade him. That was another report that they're going to be looking to trade Tua away. Obviously, that's easier said than done, as we all know. There's a lot of hurdles, a lot of things that are going on. His health issues, obviously his contract. There's a lot of things going on. So obviously, that is going to be best case scenario if the Miami Dolphins could trade him. Who is going to take him? I mean, I don't know who that would be. I mean, there's been links to the potential Kyler Murray swap. There's the Colts maybe. Who knows? I obviously we all are aware that they're going to have to give up draft capital. Most likely, they're going to have to pay majority of his $54 million guaranteed contract next season. It's going to be take this man. Like, what do you basically want that is reasonable, other than we're going to pay a big portion of his contract. We're going to have to give draft capital. Can you find a trade partner for Tua? Again, if John Eric Sullivan solely can do that, I mean, man, what a start that would be. I mean, that would be unbelievable if they can somehow get him traded to whatever team that may be, and that would be that would be a great start to the offseason. The other thing too that I found interesting was, some of the quarterback news that came out in over Super Bowl weekend. Kirk Cousins is going to get cut, which we figured, but that will be a quarterback that has obviously a lot of playing time, has won some games. That might be some interest of the Miami Dolphins. There have been links that he might be going back to the Minnesota Vikings. But again, the one thing about the Miami Dolphins is any quarterback that becomes available in the free agent market or potentially trade market, depending on who it is, the Dolphins are going to be linked one way or the other. So we all know how I feel about Malik Willis. He obviously all the dots, all the things that are there are make a ton of sense. The coaching staff, the familiarity of the scheme. Halfway's been with him, obviously with the Packers, and worked with him with the scout team. So very well known. It makes too much sense. So I imagine that is going to be the guy that they're going to go after. But again, if someone outbids, so, he gets a better offer somewhere, which is definitely possible regarding the money, we're going to have to pivot elsewhere. So Kirk Cousins could be an option. The other big news that kind of came out randomly out of kind of nowhere was a name of Derek Carr, who obviously retired last year, was out of football. But again, another name that could potentially fall into the Miami Dolphins scope if the Malik Willis route does not go the way some think. So again, the Derek Carr thing is very interesting. Would he want to come play in Miami with this rebuild? But again, a lot of these players, the Kirk Cousins of the world, the Mac Jones, who, again, another quarterback who it seemed like the 49ers do not want to get rid of him. There was another report that it's unlikely that they trade him. But again, guys like that, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Mac Jones, Marcus Mariota, I guess, some of these guys, the Miami Dolphins have an open quarterback spot. Yeah, there's going to be competition with Quinn Ewers, as there should be. But if you want to you want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, Miami Dolphins is going to have that opportunity. So, although maybe some of the links or fits might not be there, or the money situation, but if you can get a chance to be a starting quarterback for an NFL franchise, any of these quarterbacks that are open on the free agent market or trade make a lot of sense for the Miami Dolphins. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But again, all accounts, Tua is not going to be the quarterback next year, and we're going to be looking elsewhere. So again, the other opportunity that could potentially be in the trade, which again something that I have been saying for months now, is you got to call the Indianapolis Colts. If Malik Willis is not an option, I think their next pivot needs to be they need to call Indy and see what it would take to get Anthony Richardson to Miami. a young player, a ton of talent. I mean, a ton, a cannon of an arm. He can run. He can make people miss. His problem is he has issues processing the field, which is a big deal, obviously. But for the position that we are in, to have a bridge quarterback or see what you got because the draft class is not um, highly respected for quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson makes too much sense if the Colts are willing to take on Tua. I would love Anthony Richardson to come in, show me what you have. He needs a new change of scenery. What has gone down over there has been his injury history, his being benched, whatever it may be. It makes too much sense for him to get a new start. So again, if the Malik Willis route does not work, the Anthony Richardson play makes too much sense for me. Yeah, it might cost me a third round pick. It might cost me a fourth round pick. Of course, we're going to have to pay the salary. But man, Anthony Richardson in Miami with a ton of upside, a new change of scenery. Count me in for that if the Malik Willis thing does not work out. I wanted to go back to Tua. I wanted to talk a little bit about Tua's legacy with Miami because it seems right now, the last couple years, they have been rough. Obviously, we all know that. His injury history, show me the money type things, just did not play well. Listen, I hand up, I wanted Tua so bad in that draft class over Justin Herbert. I just in college, man, the guy was a dog. The guy was so good. He's one of the best college quarterbacks. I mean, of my lifetime. I mean, you could put him up there all time. I mean, the guy was a stud. He had some good years with us, and I think right now, as Dolphin fans, we're exhausted. We're tired. We're tired of the same old every few year rinse repeat motto. And I think right now we're hitting on Tua. We're hating on him a little bit. We want to move on. It was just bad the last couple years. But I think when we all settle down and a few years pass, Tua moves on and he goes, to another place. I think we're really going to look back at these last, whatever it's been, 5, 6 years with Tua, and you're going to realize that, man, at least in my lifetime, man, he was one of the best quarterbacks we've had since Dan Marino, right? I mean, I'm thinking of the names that I've had, growing up and really understanding the game, the Ryan Tannehills, Chad Penningtons, Chad Henne. I mean, guys, Tua had some really good moments for this franchise and was a by all accounts, obviously never met him personally, but his interactions with the media, his interactions with his players. I mean, the guy is well respected. Everyone, I don't think will say anything negative about Tua. So as a fan base, yes, it hurts that we have to move on. We're starting this thing all over again. But I think as a fan base, I think we're all going to come, the next 5, 6 years, and we're going to be like, you know what, it was a good ride with Tua. Injuries just played a huge role into his downfall. His arm strength went down. But man, when he was going, he was accurate. The 23 year, obviously the whole Tyreek few years were fun to watch. He had us. He was one win away from winning the division against Buffalo that last year. We fell short, but I think as a fan base, we're really going to look back and say, you know what, Tua was not as bad as we thought. Yes, was he the guy that can get us to the Super Bowl? Obviously not. He was the type of player that needed a lot of things to go right. But I love Tua. My kids love Tua. They would wake up every morning on Sundays or the Monday night games, Thursday night games, and say, oh, "Hey guys, Tua's on TV tonight." So it hurts. We're going to be moving on, but again, I think the Tua legacy in Miami is a little better than maybe we think right now, and we're going to wish him all the best. And I think, like I said, he's going to be, as long as he can stay healthy and he can kind of figure some other things out. I think he's gonna be a starting quarterback one day in this league. And like I said, I think the Colts situation makes a lot of sense. The division makes too much sense. Being two teams are in a dome with Houston and Indy. Obviously, you got the Jaguars, a Florida team, and then you also have the Tennessee Titans, who are getting a new stadium. I don't know if that's going to be dome. I'm not sure exactly on that, but again, Nashville isn't a crazy cold climate when the months get to December that you think that he couldn't play in those type of environments. So I think the AFC South for him makes a whole lot of sense. And again, we wish him all the best, but we are very thankful for Tua when things kind of settle down here and we move on. So moving on to that, really wanted to talk just a little bit about the NFL draft itself. I'm not going to get too specific in players, but kind of to reiterate what I said in the beginning, this is a foundational year for the Miami Dolphins. New ownership, or new general manager who's going to want to come in, start getting his guys, and getting that that tone set for this franchise. Um, I'm really hoping that they're going to go ahead and start with the defensive line. And if that means move back and acquire some capital, I'm totally fine with that. I am not sold on some of the players at 11 that they could not, they can move down and get a very similar type player. But I'm fully expecting that this team is going to draft heavy on the defensive side. We struggled obviously last year. We struggled everywhere, but I think the defense is something that they really need to focus on. Again, the Seattle Seahawks just proved that if you have a dominant defense, if you have a dominant special teams, which the special teams was unbelievable. It's in the Super Bowl. I mean, the field goal kicker could have won an MVP. The punter was punting it in the within the 10-yard, the within the 10-yard, 5-yard lines. I mean, it was just a masterclass through and through. So what I'm really hoping for is they start getting some of those pieces on the defensive line. Our year two guys take a big step with the new coaching staff, the new scheme. And guys, why can't the Miami Dolphins move into that middle tier of total defense next year with the new coaching? Why can't that happen? Yeah, you're going to have to get lucky. You're going to have to draft some guys, some dogs. You're going to have to retain some people, that they currently have the linebacking core specifically. What do they do with Minka? I'm not sure on that yet. But why can't the new coach, who is a defensive guy, who did some good things with the Green Bay Packers? Yeah, it helps with when you have Micah Parsons, but if they are able to move the needle a little bit on the defensive side, have good special teams, and Malik Willis, again, I'm gonna just assume that he's gonna be our starting quarterback next year because one, it makes too much sense, and two, because I really want him. Why can this team not compete more than what that expectation is of next season? Why can it not happen? You can't tell me that we cannot be a middle tier defense with better coaching, some new pieces, and our quarterback play is competent. Tua turned the ball over way too much. He could not move in the pocket. We were one dimensional. Mike McDaniel knew it. It's why he changed the whole scheme mid-season. When he added the extra offensive lineman, we went heavy dose of Devon Achane, and we beat the Buffalo Bills by doing it. We dominated the Buffalo Bills. Okay, so Bobby Slowick comes from that tree. He's going to have a very similar idea, scheme as Mike McDaniel with some sprinkles, obviously. But why can't this team compete when you have guys with Malik Willis? You're going to have Jalen Waddle. You're going to have Devon Achane. Why can't this offense just be somewhat better than what we were with a better defensive play? Why can't this team be a team that people are thinking are going to be a top pick in the draft, that we can be better than that? Why can't that happen? So I'm very interested to see. Yes, there's going to be a lot of luck. I'm being enthusiastic right now, but as we know, the NFL every year is a different year. Teams that we think are good are going to be bad. Teams that we think are bad are going to be good. We just saw it with the teams that were in the Super Bowl. They had a 1% chance. Both the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots had 1% chance to make the Super Bowl. I'm not saying the Miami Dolphins are going to make the Super Bowl, people. Don't yell at me on Twitter. Don't put some comments that this guy is drinking the Kool-Aid. All I'm saying is that, do we believe that the Miami Dolphins will be better on defense with the new coaching staff? I'm arguing yes. There's no way they're going to be worse than what they were. Yes, they're going to need their second-year guys, third-year guys. They're going to need to take a step up. They're going to need to draft well. You're going to need to hit on a few guys. But is it possible that this team is better than we think based on the fact that if we have better special teams, better defensive play, and our offense just does not hurt themselves. They do not shoot themselves in the foot. This team, even with a tough schedule, could be better than we think. And regardless of what happens, this is going to be a slow process. But if we see things move in the needle that we're hoping, 2027, 20, I mean, now you're talking to things that this rebuild could be a little quicker than we think. Yes, the cap situation's a mess. I get all that. But as my guy Omar Kelly says, the cap is not real. They're going to make some moves very quickly, cutting Tyreek Hill, moving on from Bradley Chubb, most likely. Some other pieces, obviously, hopefully getting rid of, trading to. There's pieces that can get this team under the cap very quickly, and they'll be ready to go come free agency with hopefully going after Malik Willis. So again, we have a long road. There's, uh, you know, obviously the combine's coming up here and then free agency. But I do think that this team can be better than what people are already expecting us to be. So again, it's going to be a wait and see, but I'm hoping that, we're off to a good start and, we get our quarterback. But like I said, I appreciate everyone joining on the episode. We're a little short today, no cast, so I'm kind of talking a little more than I wanted. But again, I appreciate everyone joining the episode. And again, please follow us on the socials. Keep watching our videos because as soon as we hit 2,500 views, Omar Kelly will be joining on. So I'm going to be very excited for that. And again, we appreciate you. We will be on sometime next week. And have a good rest of your day, guys. We'll talk soon.